Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. Sometimes you just got to pop out and show people, and I guess we're showing our degenerate Spurs fandom because what are we doing, people? It's Christmas, and we're about to watch Spurs Knicks together with the chat. I mean, what is going on, people? I mean, if anything, we just want to sit down, watch Wembenyama, and make sure that, no interruptions. This is our boy on national stage. This is kind of, I don't want to say his entrance to the NBA because Wembenyama is obviously such a larger-than-life character, and he's become such a prominent figure already so early on. But, if we're just being realistic, especially if we're pairing this with a conversation about the ratings and about people not necessarily tuning into the games, I mean, that does mean something. That means eyeballs aren't directly game-wise on Wembenyama that way. Again, the highlights and stuff, like, people are still seeing him, but to maybe watch him in a full game, because that is the one thing about Christmas Day that the NBA does have, I think, over the rest of the days of the year, is the eventization of it, if that's even a word, and the fact that maybe somebody will just throw the NBA on just because it's on and it's on Christmas. And maybe the NBA's a Christmas Day thing is still a little bit more niche than maybe the NFL on Thanksgiving, but maybe people will just be like, well, Wemby's on, Christmas, what's on? Basketball, Spurs, Knicks, especially right now, prelude to the Chiefs. Who are they playing? Chiefs, Steelers on Netflix. It's a real Reverend Sam Pod Sports Day, people, on Christmas. I mean, it's a Christmas miracle that they put our teams both on Christmas, and both the ones that we want to watch as well too. Shout out to the Colts. We're still repping, and we're still in the playoff mix, and it's like, the schedule is looking favorable, but there, of course, is just something special about Wembenyama. The game is already underway, of course. Knicks up 4-7, and Wembenyama's been chucking threes. And make no mistake, people, they've been going in lately. That has maybe been the one thing about Wembenyama as of late. Not the one thing, but he has definitely been cooking, and that is the thing about people seeing him now, is because the stretch that he has been on as of late has been absolutely insane. Let's see if we can actually pull up some of Wemby's numbers here from the last couple of games. Because, I mean, they were showing like the last 3 or 4 games in the pregame. And, I mean, if he's playing well over the last 2 games, 1 game, we'll take that. But, of course, the season numbers starting to really round out. Because we know the shooting stuff was a little up and down to start. Missed a couple of weeks. So since coming back with injury in these 6 games, and he had that 42 against Atlanta, and he had a 50 a while back, of course, against Washington. So I think kind of since then, he's been cooking a little bit. But unfortunately, Pop not able to make it back for the Christmas Day game. So shout out to Mitch Johnson continuing to lead at the helm. Hopefully Pop gets back soon. We just don't know, Chad. But I mean, just look at the last 3 games that he's played just in terms of the three-point attempts, Chad. 15, 8, 13. I think he's around 12 a game for the last 3. Now, again, they are going in. Okay, here, last 6. 48, 41, 90 shooting splits. The man, Steph Curry, 28 a game, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 5.7 blocks, people. I mean, he could put up potentially like a 28, 8, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Who knows, chat? 8.5 rebounds is a little low, I'm not going to lie. 32 minutes is, a decent amount for Wemby. Sometimes he can get stuck in like the 20-minute range. But yeah, they've been giving him some run this year. So hopefully he's not just in for a bad shooting performance on Christmas Day in front of the nation. But he has been cooking from the three-point line as of late. And again, I think as well as he is playing, the two-way thing has been there. We want to make sure that stylistically he's still doing the right stuff as well. Defensively, I mean, he's already having one of the best shot blocking seasons of all time. And I was looking at his block percentage for this year. He's at 10.9%, which would be the number 1 in NBA history, the highest ever, passing Manute Bol. And Manute Bol has the 3 highest. I guess we could look at that as well too, chat. But Manute Bol has the 3 highest in NBA history. And then I didn't realize how good Wembenyama's season was last year. So yeah, single season block percentage. Wemby this year, 10.9% would be the single highest in NBA and NBA/ABA history. So, you know, we got to give credit to our ABA fans. Caldwell Jones, oh, not even making a dent. 5.7%. Way down the list. Shout out, though. I mean, I don't think defense and shot blocking was necessarily prioritized in the ABA. I could be wrong, but they were the league that had the three-point line instituted. So my guess is that they were focused a little bit on offense. But the counterpart to Wembanyama in the game for the Knicks, of course, is Towns. And Towns is on a franchise-long streak of double-doubles. Or franchise-long. Not the number 1, I don't think, for the Knicks. I think it's Willis Reed. Sorry, Knicks fans. I don't want to, disrespect your legends. Start saying Towns in the names over Willis Reed and Pat Ewing and stuff like that. But I believe it's like top 3, maybe longest pause double-double stretch. Oh, and he's going to put a 3 right in Wemby's face. Yeah, he's not going to make that. But, if you're Cat and you're the Knicks, get one out of the way early. I mean, the thing for Cat is obviously, will he adjust? Maybe he knows he can't just pull a 3 right in Wemby's eye tonight. And, Cat just shooting a contested 3 is not ideal, of course. But as a 7-footer, you can get away with that. That is one of the advantages of being the taller player. So if Cat keeps going to that, of course, that could be an issue. And Wemby, again, denying Josh Hart. He's a menace right now, people. The rebounding right now around him is a little bit of a problem. And this Knicks team is going to make that a problem as well, too. Josh Hart, Anunoby. They're going to hustle at least. Towns will be on the 3-point line. Oh, Wemby, the pass underneath to Sohan. So, yeah, but Wemby last year as well was number 5 as of right now because his season right now is number 1. So I guess if you take his season out as of right now because it's not over yet, he would be number 4. But technically, I guess maybe, number 2 kind of because Manute Bol's the top 3. Serge Ibaka, Hassan Whiteside. When did they start keeping block percentage? Oh, okay, since 73-74. So that wouldn't really have the Russell Chamberlain years in there, which unfortunately would be the 2 shot blockers for NBA history. But that would still give you a lot of good Kareem years, I would think. When did Kareem actually... Yeah, 70, chat. So that's most of Kareem's career. So where was he at for block percentage? Because he would be another one. I mean, Tim Duncan as well. I guess if we were just thinking, like, who would be the leader in raw blocks. But you've got... If you ask, like, the kids who the best shot blockers of all time was, I mean, some of them might say Serge Ibaka because they grew up watching him. So it's funny that this list kind of... It's advanced stats. It feels a little newer, but... It does go back into the 70s a little bit. Where's Timmy Duncan? Pause. Hey, yo. What's Duncan's block percentage? Oh, I guess he's not going to be Timmy Duncan. Is Wemby already the best defensive player in Spurs franchise history? I mean, that's a pretty... Just in terms of... I mean, I guess, of course, he is in terms of talent standpoint. Because that would kind of still insinuate upside a little bit, which... But, I mean, if you think about, again, just the defensive players that the Spurs have had this year, or in the franchise's history, and it's defenders, it's Robinson, but Duncan as well, too. You get a couple of centers in there. But we all, Kawhi Leonard, the team drafted Kawhi Leonard. So we have great wing defenders as well in the franchise history, and great role player defenders. Great annoying defenders. Shout out Bruce Bowen. Manu was an underrated two-way guy. He could hold his own. Yeah, look at Duncan's block percentage is only 4.6. An estimated percentage of opponent two-pointers. Yeah, I guess you're going to be blocking mostly two-pointers. It's going to be... But I guess for Wemby as well, too, is it going to calculate the three-pointers? Because he'll block at least a couple of those. So, is he already having the highest block percentage in history and then just has these other blocks on top of it that aren't even being calculated into this stat? Wemby, he's an animal, chat. We know that maybe the aliens are landing in the East Coast, but they may have already landed in Texas, chat. Who knows? Wemby was here first. I mean, if Wemby was obviously a sign, and he made it obvious with his branding, he was leaning into it. He's literally like, yes, people, I am an alien. I'm telling you guys this. It'll be nice to finally see when they're here and they unveil like the timeline of who is actually aliens. Should we do that, chat, sometime? Should we go through history and see who might have actually been an alien? Because obviously Wemby is on the list. And it's not just athletes as well, too, chat. It's, you know, people from all walks of life. Unfortunately for us, basketball history is going to be our most... It's going to be the one we know the most names in. So I guess we got to really pick out these guys from the 50s on. But if we were to try to go back and look through history and pay respects to some guys, you know, Alexander the Great, was he an alien? Some of those like pharaohs back in the day. Napoleon. You know, anybody that just kind of emerged like that. Who knows, chat? I guess, again, those are all like... The problem is it's like throughout history, you know, the only people that you remember are like these world leaders and generals. And now it's like, I guess there are painters and stuff, though, too. And then there's a couple of musicians. I guess it just really gets narrowed down, chat. That is the thing about legacies and over time. Because you assume right now, you're like, well, I mean, you would assume like a Kendrick Lamar would just live on for generations. And maybe he, you know, is the Beethoven of the era. But, like, which of these guys will actually be the guy that, you know, when more civilizations are on Mars, like, who are the music that they're taking with you? Who's the movies that they're taking? Because, again, there's only a few of these people. And I get that we're in this unique period of culture and what we're able to make and the ability to produce stuff. But still, I think in some of these empires, they're probably being just... I mean, again, there's going to be as much probably lower end stuff as well, too, that just kind of gets lost through the shuffle as there is now. Or just like whatever the version of Tubi is now. Like, I bet the Roman Empire had some small level theater back in the day, like offering free plays. And it's like, hey, these plays, they're rerunning these old plays and they're actually pretty good. And it's free and you can just go over and sit there and watch it. But yeah, apparently, you know, nobody's really caught on. It's not that big of a theater. So I'm sure there was like those kind of things around, you know, like underground artists, underground painters and stuff like that. Athletes. I mean, and they did have athletics as well. Of course, we know they had the Colosseum, of course, if we're keeping it in the Roman Empire. But, I mean, you go even into the other side of, like the other continent where you kind of, world history gets lost for a while, at least in some of the schooling that we went through. But you get into like the Americas and some of the same times as like the Roman Empire would be going. I guess I can't say like the same time, but you know, you get into the Americas and some of these tribes and stuff and they're playing sports. I mean, and for some reason, they're all battling to the death in 15 and 1600s. 14, maybe it's more like 13 and 1400s. 14, 1500s. But, you know, I guess we don't really know. We don't know of any of these athletes in these tribes that battled to the death. Though there is maybe a couple of them that maybe actually you probably could look up. But still, like the gladiators, like outside of Russell Crowe, how many gladiators do we actually know from back in the day? There's not too many. So I guess all that being said, chat, because like Michael Jordan, you know, I mean, he played against the aliens in the movies. I mean, is that just another sign, chat? I mean, these people are literally giving us signs. They're always around aliens. They're invested in aliens. It just seems to be kind of following them wherever they go. I don't know, chat. I think maybe we shouldn't do the alien. Shout out, Tim Duncan is an alien, of course. Great basketball player. Now, Tim Duncan was just one of the best basketball players in human history, for sure. And that's not a diss. I was trying to make that a compliment, but I felt like if we're calling all these other guys like extraterrestrial, then maybe it's not. But still, hopefully Timmy sees it the right way. But did we mention that they were going with Vassell in the starting lineup as well. And he had been making a run off the bench for a lot of this season. But 39% from 3, he's been good. Vassell's been a good scorer. Yeah, he's gotten the start the last 3 with Wemby really starting to chuck him up. So I was curious if they would try to keep him off the bench or as a scorer, especially, you get Castle starting to work in there, but you can bring Castle if you're trying to work him in as kind of like a ball handler, but just a secondary playmaker as well, too. You get kind of a lead guard in there with a lead scorer like Vassell to be in your second unit. Because, again, you got Wemby, you got Chris Paul, you got Harrison Barnes. And unfortunately for Zach Collins, he has, in these last 3 games as well, not really been a part of the rotation either, which, we've been calling for more Charles Bassey minutes. So there's an opening chat, pause. There's some availability. Some hours are available. Minutes on Indeed, chat. Charles Bassey, can he pick up a shift at center for the Spurs? Maybe we'll finally get the Bassey break. I mean, assuming he doesn't foul out before he's able to actually break out as an NBA player. That would be nice, chat. If he could just stay on the court. But yeah, even still, I guess Vassell as a starter, 48, 37, 16 a game. So I think not necessarily the numbers you'd want to see from him, but still, like 15 games into the season. What's he at, chat? 10? No, yeah, 14 games into the season for him, and working his way off injury. He gets a little time to adjust. But what's his peak season look like so far, chat? Because he has been kind of a sneaky injured guy. Yeah, look at the games played. And I get there's maybe been a little McCaffrey with him. Maybe the team, will save him while we're kind of building the team around him as well. And the three-point shooting, of course, has been really consistent over the last couple of years. So he is having his best season efficiency-wise this year. So we love to see that. And again, hopefully it wasn't just a second unit thing. Hopefully with the starters, that can maintain. Oh, and Achua just threw the ball off his back right now. Is that a pause? I think that's a crazy pause, chat. Hey, yo. Merry Christmas for that one. But saving it for the Knicks. Okay, 19-20, and in MSG as well, too. Again, with the Knicks playing well, there is always the chance that the Spurs could get out of hand a little bit. What's going to happen to the defense? And make no mistake, I think the second and third quarters, we will definitely need to, keep our fingers crossed that we're in for a good game. But I also forgot, chat, shout out to Grandma for the nice new jacket. I know we're looking good right now in this chat. And make no mistake, you will be seeing quite a few appearances of this jacket for 2025 because I definitely know how to overwear a zip-up hoodie. That is for sure. I'm a zip-up guy. I'm a hoodie man in general, but you gotta love a zip-up, chat. Nothing can beat it. Pause. Whoa. We're on a roll. But I think that love for zip-ups is just so it's just so obvious for some reason that she was just like, yeah, I know you love zip-up hoodies, so I got you a cool zip-up. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm wearing it right now. So perfect gift. We also got a Spurs shirt as well, too, chat, which is back over here. But I didn't know if we could go double gift right away. I don't know. What's the move on that, chat? Are you guys the type of people that open and, would you wear all of your gifts in one outfit, right away? And I guess sometimes you do get maybe, a combination or something that goes together. I get wearing the pieces if you get as a set, but... again, a separate shirt, a separate jacket. Maybe if there was a pair of joggers, socks, chat, new socks or whatever. I do have new socks on as well. I mean, these are crazy socks, chat. Should we get a shot of these fuzzy socks? These are wild. And again, shout out to Grandma Mar. Shout out to Grandma Gloria as well too. But look at these, chat. Are these holiday socks or what? These are crazy, and these are fuzzy. I mean, Our feet have never been, well, in socks, chat, they've never been more comfortable. Hey, yo, but they are going to be toasty warm. Right in time for global warming, chat. Right in time as the earth heats up. We don't even need to be bundled up for winter anymore. I'm literally just wearing this is just my jacket for the day, chat. It's the middle of winter. It's December. We're supposed to be. I mean, every like Christmas piece of movie, TV show, like any Christmas thing you watch from like they're doing like a Prairie Days or something. Like any old-timey Christmas thing is almost always a snowstorm. And I get that maybe it's just you go, okay, there you go. Then it's just an overused storyline. But it was something that happened quite a bit, chat. Make no mistake, there was a lot of snowstorms on Christmas in TV. And maybe I'm just remembering, you know, shout out our family always. They were a big Little House on the Prairie family back in the day. That show is not necessarily carried on in my rotation, but it was something that the Christmas episode was on quite a bit around Christmas time. And there was a snowstorm in that one. So maybe I'm just thinking of that episode just being replayed over and over again. But what is the report for snowstorms this year, chat? Are we getting anything bad? Because, again, I think we're pretty good here so far. Oh, okay, so we do have travel warnings. Maybe I'm just out of the loop, chat. Northern Cali? Okay, okay. So I guess the East Coast is still suffering. Global warming is still not warmed up that much. Yeah, wait, we're not trying to, you know, tame it down. We get it, chat. We're doing the best we can, but look at this. The East Coast is still suffering. Maybe just a few more cow farts, and then we can call it good. And then we can just be, hey, how do we get this thing to stop right at the perfect temperature, chat? Is that really what we're doing? We're just kind of preheating the earth a little bit just to kind of get it right. You know, if we have to sacrifice a few ice caps to cut the snow out a little bit, I mean, is it just a give and take? Is it just, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, chat? Who knows? Colorado? Are we still getting snowstorms in Colorado? Again, I can only really speak from experience. And in terms of where we are at in the Midwest, we're not doing too bad. But maybe if we're living at the peak of anything, chat pause, maybe it is global warming. Who knows? Shout out, though. Do the best you can. Get your electric car this year. If you're going to get a car for somebody, get an electric plug-in. I actually don't know if that's the move, chat, because they're saying right now that it makes more greenhouse energy to produce a car or whatever, electric car or whatever, but I don't know. Is it the long-term benefit of having the battery going out? I just don't know, chat. It's too confusing. I don't know. I just try to hold in my farts the best we can and just move from there. I don't know. But anyways, first quarter of the game. Either way, what else do we get? Should we do a Christmas gift recap? Because we do a little Christmas Eve, Christmas morning combos. So by the time we head back over for lunch, which make no mistake, we will definitely be late for the Christmas lunch. It's just what it is. Wembenyama's playing basketball. But the gifts are already opened up at this point. And there was one gift that we did need. So we got that one already, which we didn't even ask for it. Shout out, our mom knew we needed it. She stepped up. She's like, I'll just go ahead and get it for you now. She didn't even say. She just showed up with a gift one day and was like, hey, I got your Christmas gift early because I know you need this. And I was like, oh, well, look at that. That's great. But yeah, what did we get? The jackets, the shirts. There's always like the little stocking stuffer, you know, Packer granola bars type of, you know, the apple chat. Everybody gets an apple and an orange in their stocking, right? Or is it just our health conscious grandma? I don't know. But I'm down, chat. I love a good, I'll take a restock on the protein bars. I'm never mad about that. So, I mean, A plus around. We already gave the hoodie an A+. Spurs shirts are always A+. I don't know how much longer are we going to keep getting Spurs merch, chat. We're going to have to make sure that the stuff we have stays in good condition for a while because we're kind of getting into the, you know, are they going to, but maybe it's Christmas time. They can feel like, hey, it's a, you know, it's something a little different. It's like I mean, Christmas is like gifts. It's presents, right? It's splurging for these other people a little bit. So maybe that's kind of what they're feeling like. They're like, hey, I get you're not going to wear a Spurs shirt around all the time, but this is maybe something for Christmas to support the team. So just in case, though, I think we need to make sure that it stays good, because I know the jersey supply has definitely slowed down a little bit. So we've had to make sure the jerseys we've had stayed in good condition. It's like, okay, maybe no jersey parties. Maybe we can't afford to burn through another Wembenyama. But for right now, we're doing okay. So we got the restock on that as well, too. So, I mean, again, shout out A+, Christmas time. We don't even need anything, chat. We're blessed. We got everything we already have, so we're good. It's always great when the family just shows their love and shows their appreciation. But come on, Wemby, can you pay back the Spurs fans with a little Christmas gift in New York? I mean, does anybody actually want to see the Knicks win this one? They have 19 wins. They're 19-10. They're back to third in the East. That's where they need to be, right? I don't know what the record. Let's get a record difference here. Let's see how far back they are. Because I get maybe there is a standing in the league that you need to be at. It could be third in the East, but maybe there's tiers. Like, they still feel like they're a tier behind these two teams, which is absolutely true. But they're still close enough. 19-10 versus 19-12 for Orlando. So, yeah, Milwaukee at 16, Miami at 14. They've definitely elevated themselves. And you can definitely see that this is starting to gel a little bit. Especially with Towns cooking the way that he's been cooking. I mean, that's why you bring him in for the trade. But the Spurs, it's their time, chat. It's Wemby's time. The Spurs are the league is ready for the next superstar. Everybody's craving it. Everybody wants the next big must-watch TV type thing. So maybe this is it, chat. Maybe this is it. Maybe in the fourth quarter we get a moment. Who knows? We will get a moment because Wemby is a guy of moments. And I think he's a little bit of a... I mean, speaking of snowstorms, chat, he is a little bit of a snowball. I guess microwave would be he heats up kind of quick, which, I mean, he does heat up for sure. He'll go on runs. But they do seem to be later in the game. And at clutch times, like that Atlanta game the other night, I mean, he was awesome in that fourth quarter. In overtime offensively, he couldn't miss. And it was just big shot after big shot right when you need him. But again, it was into the game a little bit. And he was dominant that whole game as well. Towns battling his way in for that one. So a little Towns takeover here at the end of the first. No Brunson. So it's going to be Towns. And you don't really think about that with Towns either. Because, I don't know, for some reason in Minnesota, it just didn't seem to have that same sort of dynamic of... And maybe it was just, I don't know if I'm just... Maybe it's just me, chat, but... It just didn't seem like when Anthony Edwards was off the court, it was like, oh, these are the Towns minutes, you know? This is Towns' team, Towns takeover. Because the other part of the Towns dynamic was, Edwards got there and then became the guy over Towns. So maybe it was a part of the fact that the team was maybe taken. I don't know if that like shifted the mentality of it, but bringing it in again, establishing the roles are established. Brunson is the first team, second team All NBA guy. He's the lead guy on the team. It's his team, but Towns can be the offensive star on certain nights. He can be the best player on the court on certain nights. And when Brunson's off the court, again, he doesn't have that pressure of, oh, this is my team again, maybe, if you get what I'm saying, chat. Where, I don't know, just something about that dynamic with him in Minnesota. It just seemed different. And there we go. Wemby finally, I guess if he's going to, at this point, chat, he's just going to be taking the threes. What was that? A 31-footer? I mean, come on, chat. What are we doing? Look at the shot chart on this thing. What are we doing, Wemby? The logo's right. You're closer to the logo than the three-point line. Brother, what are we doing? You're 7.5 feet tall. I guess does he think because his arms are longer, it's like a shorter three-point? I don't know what Wemby is mind. I don't know what his shooting coaches are telling him, chat. But at this point, it just seems like this is going to be who he is. So if he's making them, that's all we can hope at this point. I don't know. Is he a lost cause, chat? We've lost Wemby to the three-point line. And once the league started once people started complaining about Wemby taking too many threes, that's when the league was, I saw a report that the league was like, oh, I think we might have to investigate this. Which I don't even know what that means, chat. They're going to investigate the amount of three-pointers being taken. We know what the investigation is. The investigation was done already. That's why we're taking this amount of three-pointers, because the investigation led to saying, wow, three-pointers are way better. The investigation says that if you shoot a bad percentage of three-pointers, it's still like shooting a pretty good percentage of two-pointers, which is pretty hard to do, and maybe just as hard as, shooting a bad three-pointing percentage. Or I guess shooting a bad three-pointing percentage is easier. But obviously, if you're not making anything, then that's one thing. But again, the analytics are what they are, chat. The way the game is being, the way the rules for the game and the way the game presents itself right now, the three-point shot is what I guess I don't know the exact mathematical number, but the three-point shot is, whatever percentage better than the two-point shot. So I guess I don't know what the league is going to find out extra about that's going to make them go, okay, here is the next step into pushing the product forward as a viewing experience. But maybe, I don't know, Chad, maybe it's just them continuing to take a closer look at it is what just needs to be done in general. But I don't know. I don't even know if it's that, chat. I don't even know if it's that. I mean, we'll see if Wemby becomes a dominant playoff guy, if Wemby becomes a go-to guy, if somebody emerges as a dominant force in the league in that same way, then maybe things will change. Like, I don't know. We've talked about Giannis and Jokic a lot, but I just don't. Are people not tuning in to watch Giannis and Jokic? And they really aren't, Chad. It's just crazy that they're not. What are you guys doing on a Tuesday night that you're not throwing on basketball? I don't understand. Is your TV off, Chet? Are you taking that Kendrick Lamar song literally? He's not talking about the NBA. So I don't know why people aren't necessarily tuning in to watch Jokic and Giannis. It doesn't make sense. And I guess maybe it's the Bucks and the Nuggets. Maybe that's what it is, Chet. Those teams are bad, so we get that. But the idea that people just aren't wanting to throw on basketball, it just doesn't make sense. Because we know that people want to watch live sports. And we know that people want to follow the NBA because the counterpoint to people not watching the NBA has always been, well, people follow the league on socials and the social engagement is always really good for the league. But how do those two things not add up, chat? How do people want live sports? Is the NBA like Power Slap? Like, is that really what it is? Is a league better in clips? Because it doesn't seem like that either. It seems like a league that you watch the clips and you want to see more. But it also just seems like, it's a better thing to watch a full game or portions of a game, or it's just something to have on. But it's the early part of the season. It's why they had the in-season tournament, because that portion of the season has always been a struggle with the ratings. So maybe the fact that the ratings are down from that even is like, whoa, wait a second. Now we're really swimming if the fixes aren't working. But it's like, okay, still, the problem still exists in kind of the same part of the season. But I guess the ratings are down for the finals and, for other stuff as well. But with Christmas, maybe Santa will give the NBA some viewers, give the NBA some TV numbers. But I just think they need that star player to emerge, chat. That guy to become a bandwagon guy. As much as bandwagons become annoying, like, I kind of think that is what drives fan bases. And maybe it's just the counter to what is happening now, because now it's like the anti-bandwagon teams. It's, can everybody be equal? How do we get the talent spread out as much as possible? Pause. Like, how do we ensure that there's as much balance as possible? Because we want everybody's fans to feel like they have a chance, and then that way maybe everybody can be invested into the league. But it turns out people are going to try to pave their own destinies, and they're just going to choose the team that's at the top. people aren't loyal, chat. People aren't loyal to, I mean, there are people that are loyal to cities and loyal to teams, and people like us that'll spend 2.5 hours away from their family to watch Wemby lose to the Knicks on Christmas Day. But there are other people that are just like, hey, if I want to be emotionally invested into basketball, I want to make sure I'm winning, and I really like this guy that does a lot of winning. You know who I really like for football? Patrick Mahomes. You know who I really liked for football? It's like Tom Brady. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, maybe it's the easy way out. Maybe it's the bandwagon thing. But a lot of people, you know, that's the way they think in chat. That's just what ends up happening. Maybe they're not thinking, I want to take the easy way out. Maybe that's not even what it is. Maybe it is just that people, and, you know, it is people get drawn to greatness. It's a great athlete is the same as, like we're saying, a great musician. If a great musician is putting out great albums all the time, people are going to be gravitated toward their product. And if a great athlete is putting up great performances all the time, then people are going to be gravitated toward them as well. But, you know, that playoffs, that winning, actually turning it into championships, we just haven't seen that yet since LeBron's been in LA, really. What a hook shot by Towns, chat. And I wouldn't say that, oh, Wemby for three again, 28 feet. Okay, it went in. Pause. They have the lead. But they aren't even necessarily, the looks are always so early in the shot clock as well. That's the other frustrating part. It's like, Wemby, you can take a 28-footer with 4 seconds left. That shot will be there. But it's these, right away, the offense is setting up, and then he just immediately turns and fires the three. I just don't understand how even that part of it has not been. It's like, Wemby, just don't take it with 18 seconds in the clock. Let us run a play. And maybe it's the possessions, you know, now with the analytics, like, take threes. We want as many possessions as possible. Try to score as many points as possible. Whatever. But especially with this team, like we have Chris Paul. I don't know if we can necessarily be a fast team with Chris Paul out there. We need to set up. Let him find guys. And Trey Jones as well, too. Like, these are guys that need to operate. Let the guys operate. I mean, they're operating right now. We're going on a run, so I just complain when things are going well, Chad. It's just what it is, I guess, with the Spurs. 8-0 run, timeout Thibodeau. And it's with the ball handlers in there. It's with Trey Jones and with Chris Paul. And Keldon Johnson as well, too. That's one of the reasons that, you know, that Vassell into the starting lineup move was an interesting one to keep an eye on. Because Johnson has been playing well this year. I know, again, those three-point numbers have maybe been a little up and down. But just as a guy in the rotation, as a teammate, he's been moving the ball. The defense, I think, has been there for a lot of it. And I still believe in his three-point shot. I know, and it's not even like his career three-point numbers have necessarily been fantastic, but his shot's not necessarily broken, I think, from a form standpoint. So, if he just, and I don't think it's a gym thing either, Chad. I don't know if it's confidence or what, but if he's able to find his rhythm, get to become an average level three-pointer. Oh, geez, Chad. That acid reflux from that Christmas breakfast. Shout out that bacon, though. Can't beat it. But pause. Well, but that threw us off. What were you just saying? Keldon Johnson. Sorry, Chad. But yeah, I've been a fan of the Keldon Johnson minutes this year because he was another guy that was, with his contract and with being on the team a little bit, there was some definite trade block, what could the future be for Keldon Johnson type talks for the Spurs. But again, I think he's kind of not earned. I don't want to say that he didn't like not earn his spot. You know, people get anxious as well too. People just want to switch things up. It's the 2K, it's the video gameization of it all, the fantasy, just their names, just trade them around. And we do it too, chat. Pause. We're in on the trade machine and all the stuff. We get it. I'm just saying of how even we can think about it sometimes. Where you forget, oh, yeah, you're actually sending this guy to a different spot. But I also do fake trades as well with, like, actual jobs, chat. And I don't know if I necessarily have the other team/jobs to compare it with. But I think about it, like, at the restaurant, if there was a great, if there was a server that was on the board from another restaurant, And if it was like, what were they offering? You know, it's like, well, are we going to go 2 servers, or is it a server bartender situation? You know, what's the value for bartender versus server? And of course, the individual employee talent is going to matter as well. But it's just it's important, chat. It's important, and it's just how people, I think, keep tabs on the performances of the peoples in their organizations. But make no mistake, Keldon Johnson, it was like, how many bartenders can we get for Keldon Johnson? But he's back, chat. We're all in. Bartenders in the NBA standard being not that we would trade him for cash considerations. Of course, he's too good for that. But they were like, do we need a couple of veterans? Oh, and Silver in the game for Knicks Spurs. Is he going to be on a flight for any of these later games, chat? Wow. And I guess, you know, New York, Silver, New York, we get it. But I don't know, this LA Golden State game in prime time. Philly, Boston, the defending champs. Maybe is this a protest against Embiid, chat? Phoenix, Denver, Arizona. Maybe he wants to hang out in Arizona, but, you know, it's starting to get a little late. I don't know what Adam Silver's bedtime is. And Devin Booker, I believe, is out for tonight as well. So it's like, maybe Silver's probably just going to have that one on the TV. He might not even have it on the TV at that point, chat. I want to know what games Adam Silver is not watching. Is Adam Silver watching the Wizards? Like, that's how you know. Maybe Adam Silver, I mean, maybe take a peek at your own viewing habits. You know? And I get you're doing what you can to fix the league. We appreciate the effort, though maybe some of the salary cap stuff wasn't as, you know, maybe it didn't have the impact that we thought it was going to have. I mean, I guess it did have the impact that we thought it was going to have, but maybe the ripple effects of that were not as expected. But a Chris Paul 27-footer. Oh, there we go. A Wembanyama rebound. Let's get that up a little bit. Pause from that 8.5 number. He needs to be in double digits. But it's like, Adam Silver, if you're not even watching the Wizards, like, why would anybody watch the Wizards? And I get Adam Silver is not the biggest Wizards fan. And as the commissioner, you know, he's not obligated to watch every NBA game. But I would assume he'd be interested in most NBA games that are going on. Again, it's just kind of like a boss level perspective. And I guess that just determines, you know, are you a micromanager? Do you want to be involved in everything? Or are you a good delegator and just, you like, you know, delegating the tasks and just letting the processes run? Because if that's the case, then yeah, you just, you know, set up the NBA and just let the games happen. But if I was the commissioner, Chen, I know I'd be like watching every game, just seeing what's happening. And again, not even from a fan standpoint at that point. It would be definitely from I don't want to call it a micromanager standpoint either, because I don't know if I would be a micromanager commissioner in whatever sense that would be. But I would definitely be, you know, eagle-eyed, chat, on everything. Keeping an eye. You got to watch the games, the broadcast teams. You know, if somebody's too annoying, chat, get him out of there. There's a couple of guys in a couple of runs when the Spurs were going up against certain rival players. And I don't want to say names, again, as the commissioner of the NBA. I don't want to put myself in an awkward spot. But there were a couple of announcers of some rival teams where it was like, once the star player got cooking, I was like, I actually hope this guy says something suspendable. Again, not fireable. We don't want a guy to not be able to provide for his family. But maybe a couple weeks off after the way he's been gloating about this 20 to whatever run would not be the worst thing in the world. But I just would want to know, chat. So shout out. Glad to have the commissioner in the, and again, it's not a Spurs game. It feels like a Wembanyama game, though. And with all due respect to Brunson and Towns, like, again, would the commissioner be at this game if it was not Wembanyama? Like, who else would this be, chat? You know, it's an East-West matchup, so I guess in theory you could say the league is willing to put anybody in this spot. Maybe it's OKC versus New York, but even if it is OKC versus New York, is the commissioner at this game? I think this is the commissioner. Is he kind of putting the stamp of approval on Wembanyama at this point? I mean, Edwards and Doncic are playing next, chat. In Dallas. Edwards, another young American star as well. And I know that we made the case that that doesn't matter. But if it does matter, because people say it does, we'll point it out. So, his presence here, chat. I don't know. Are we making too much of the Adam Silver appearance? But I'm just saying, chat, that's a big deal, you know? There's some, I feel like, and maybe he's spending Christmas with his family later. Maybe it's a scheduling thing, you know? Maybe it's a dinner for Adam Silver. But Adam Silver's not, and, you know, shout out, Adam Silver's been around the block a little bit. You'd assume maybe some people in his age bracket would lean toward maybe a Christmas lunch. But maybe Christmas lunch in the suite is not a bad move. I'm sure there's great food. I mean, we're talking about a suite at MSG in New York. Like, I guess you could say that maybe Dolan is, like, there's maybe that potential outcome of it. Because I guess we've never been in a suite at MSG in New York or done the research on what the food scene is like for that, which, now that I'm saying that, we absolutely should. 2025, put that in for the New Year's resolutions. Catch up on the food scenes for these NBA arenas. The suite game, chat. What is going on? Oh, Bridges driving with delay. Ooh. But if this was OKC New York, chat, I don't know if he would be at this one. I just don't know if there would be enough star. And maybe he just is, again, at the New York game in general. But is there enough star power in the game between those two teams to be worthy of the commissioner's time, you know? To value the commissioner's presence. Is Wemby the only one that can get him here for this game? And what's the Adam Silver-Dolan relationship like? He's at a lot of Knicks games. We're not tweaking. But he does love being on the West Coast as well, too. I feel like, I mean, Boston's been good, so he was there for the finals, but you know, he likes hanging out in Boston as well. That Boston-Philly game might not be a bad game for him, kind of middle of the day. It is East Coast, so it's a little later, I guess. What are we looking at, a 6 for that one? Maybe he'll shoot up to that one as well. Pause. Head over to Boston, take the train. I don't know, what's the name of the train from Boston to New York, chat? Can we get any locals? I continue to expose myself as a Midwest kid, but I just don't know the name of it. It is what it is. Maybe we'll go spend some time in New York at some point. I don't know how much time. You know, I don't know if it needs to be a couple weeks, a couple months. Putt around, use some public transportation. Are we just setting ourselves up for a scary experience? Chat, maybe we are, but life in the big city, I feel like it needs to be experienced. And Wemby, I guess, what's the big city life in San Antonio? Nothing compared to New York, of course. But I think San Antonio holds its own. So a big Bridges performance today so far. 5 for 5, 11 points. What should our New Year's resolution be, to figure out how to actually pay attention during the watch parties, chat? Maybe we should. We live and we learn. But, you know, the commissioner shows up to the game. We just get excited. It's just what it is. Oh, Den of Thieves 2? Ice Cube's son, he made it out. I saw him on the poster, and I was like, wait, didn't he? I guess, spoiler if you haven't seen Den of Thieves 1. But I thought, didn't he die at the end of it? But then I was like, no, that's right. He makes it out. Who's the guy that dies? Master Chief? The guy from Halo? What's that guy's name? Schreiber? Something like that? Paul? Mr. PS? Shout out our guy PS. I don't think he makes it out. So maybe we get like a ghost flashback scene in the second one. A little. Oh, this was actually, because I think the Ice Cube character in that, or the Ice Cube Jr., the O'Shea Jackson's character is like running around doing this. Like, this is his move. Like, he kind of sets up his life, plans out these heists, and then, you know, is able to get these big dollar heists pulled off. But maybe if they do like a flashback to that time, you know, he set up a pretty good life for himself, chat. And I guess, You know, I guess the life was more actually like PS's life and 50 Cent's life than it was maybe O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s life. But, you know, those were the guys involved as well. I guess those were, and he was kind of the sidekick guy. Is right. We need to go revisit that movie, chat. That's right. He was kind of the sidekick in there. And you were like, oh, wait a second. He's actually the main guy. But maybe he'll be like, oh, this time was the best time of my life. I miss these guys. I miss 50 Cent. I mean, who wouldn't, chat? If you had 50 Cent in your crew for a heist, I mean, you'd have to protect him at all costs. I know the problem with 50 Cent in your crew is you assume that he would protect you. But no, you can't lose 50 Cent. You got to keep him around. Okay, chat, here we go. Final 5. Wemby on the bench so far. As we get out of timeout here. It may be a big time for Castle to shine as well, too. Shout out Sohan with the Grinch haircut. We should have mentioned that earlier. But I think he's been rocking that green for a second. So I don't know, is he just going Grinch vibes for all of December? But on Christmas, I think it's fitting. And we need to go to the Graham chat and see what's going on with the Christmas Day kicks. What's the shoe game like for some of these players? Oh, speaking of which, when does that... Oh, it's right now, chat. Wow, what timing. I think right about now, Netflix is firing up its first ever NFL game. We probably should have been watching the pregame chat. Or maybe we shouldn't have. I don't know. But just to at least see... Just to see what was going on. But we know what goes on. Oh, we hit it right with the Netflix intro. Dude, they've got it like... They've got their own little Netflix intro. They're ready to go, chat. When will the Super Bowl be on Netflix? It's only a matter of time. Because do they sell the Super Bowl separate? Sold separately? Wow, a Squid Games promo before a football game. I mean, the streamer incest in these types of ordeals, chat, is absolutely crazy. Because at least the thing with a cable station is, you know, you're at least side by side with your competitor. Like, I get the cable station maybe is like this one overarching thing, but at least the channels themselves and at least the entertainment companies themselves, for the most part, were side by side with their competitors. So you had Disney side by side with Warner. I guess I don't know what's all merged together now as well, chat. But, you know, side by side, because like Fox and Warner together. But, you know, you had Fox next to Warner, next to Disney, next to Paramount, next to all these guys. Now, once you go into Disney, you know, you're into Disney. Once you go into NBC, you're into NBC. And they remind you. So I guess you still get the advertisements from other brand stuff, obviously. But the star crossover here is crazy. And Netflix always does this. Like at the roast, you know, it's all Netflix stars. And it shows you that Netflix can just time and time again drop the bag for the biggest names in Hollywood and get these people to show up. But they definitely eventize, chat. Maybe the NBA needs to get on Netflix. Maybe the NBA should have just gone full streamers with the next deal. Maybe we looked at it the wrong way, chat. I guess they got all the money. But I feel like we're both in the future and in the present at the same time. Like, yes, this is the future in terms of, like, the NFL is still on these things. But, you know, this is... The NFL is on Netflix at this moment as well. Like, the transition is happening. Thursday Night Football, of course, is already on Prime. I mean, Monday night just put a game on ESPN Plus for just no reason. They're like, why not? And make no mistake, chat, nobody watched it. I think it's the lowest NFL game in, like, since the 50s. But they were like, hey, we got the Disney Plus thing. We got the streaming. This is where it's going. Let's at least see what our audience is. So if anything, it was an exposure, I think, of the ESPN Plus audience. Whoa, Stephen Castle. with the massive jam. Thibodeau's going to take another timeout, chat. Both teams out of timeouts. 2 minutes left to play here. And it's Chris Paul finding Castle. Why is Brunson jumping? Oh, and then the point to the front row as he lands, chat. He's a star. He's got star talent, but he's also got that just subtle star personality. And it's really just overwhelming confidence, chat, is what it is. It's just a natural confidence that he has. And you can just see it with how he carries himself. Okay, so you know we always like to see what that little scorecard graphic is going to be for these streamers. And the ones that we do have established as well, like they change them up every. Oh, mic unplugged, chat. My bad. Oh, jeez. Let me see. It won't fit. We'll be back in just a second, chat. Sorry. How do you get... Where does this cable go? There we go. Okay. Testing, testing. Let me see. Are we back in, chat? Hello? Okay, testing 1, 2, 3. I think we're good to go. At least we got that out of the way before halftime. Before the game really starts to heat up in the second half. But here we go, chat. The NFL on Netflix. Christmas Day, the NFL on Christmas. Mahomes. He doesn't need to spend time with his family. I mean, if there's two people that just don't need to be around their family at Christmas, is it Mahomes and Russell Wilson? For both for opposite reasons, chat? Hey, whoa. Somebody else said that. That wasn't me. Somebody in IT. We made IT show up to work today. Shout out for the boys pulling up. But one of them said that. Fire them, not me. Oh, and right away, Russell Wilson turning it over. Did he get back on? Oh, he got it again. The immediate fumble. Immediate 3 and out. I think maybe the Chiefs will be the star of the day, chat. Did Netflix make Mahomes? Are they going to make Mahomes play well? Mahomes has a Netflix contract. I mean, is that something that can happen, chat? Can a player have an actual contract for a streamer that is broadcasting the game? Is that a little conflict of interest? Does that just have a whiff of conflict of interest? Oh, and turn the corner on the punt return. The Chiefs are taking over Pittsburgh. Oh, they're going to spoil the holiday. Andy Reid's the Grinch. Grumpy old Andy Reid. Ruining a holiday in Pittsburgh. I mean, you've won enough games, Chiefs. You have 1 loss on the year. It's about time you lose another one. You have 2 Mahomes has 3 Super Bowls. You're going to win a 4th. Just let the Pittsburgh fans live in peace. So Mahomes is going to get the ball at the 41 to start. They're in Harrison Butker field goal range. I guess Pittsburgh, it's a little tricky. The run right away, it feels a little more successful than it should have. I mean, he gets all the way. He gets 8 yards, 9 yards. Felt like there was too much space. I mean, they were definitely playing for the pass, but wow, are we in for... And I guess the Chiefs haven't dominated anyone, chap, but... And they're not... I don't think they would play a game where they would dominate. I don't think they'd mind necessarily the close games. I think they like it, chat. They want to feel alive. We just want to feel something in the regular season. They're like, we need these close games to keep us entertained. They do it on purpose a little bit. Oh, Brunson with the tricky shot for halftime. Wemby's defense was absolutely stifling. And offensively, I mean, 4 for 10. Chat. 10 3-pointers in the first half. I mean, 24 points. Again, he is 4 for 10. He's got 11 rebounds. But that's a crazy number. It's like, Wemby's like a fast driver, chat. He's like my brother. My brother is a really good driver, but he loves driving. So he's also into, like, driving fast and whipping around turns and like giving you a full driving experience. Like he likes the actual, I guess more like race style driving than, because there's race car driving and then there's road driving, like casual driving. And I'm not even talking about how you operate the car. I'm talking about how the car feels when the passengers are in there. There's the driver, again, if you're going for speed, going for a good time, going for all that, there's drivers that can pull that off. And then there's the driver that's going for comfort and going for, you know, maybe more of a laid-back experience. Okay, Steelers do force a 4th and 1 here in a timeout. So look at that. The Steelers defense, whew. Right when it looked like Mahomes and the Chiefs were going to take over, chat. Maybe Russell Wilson stands a chance. Would it be a Christmas miracle if Russell Wilson hang in there with Pat Mahomes? When was the last time they played, chat? I guess a couple times, Broncos versus Chiefs, but different Russell Wilson, obviously. Oh, wow. Second time in Wemby's career that he had 20 and 10.5. Yeah, insane usage for Wemby. It's Christmas Day. I guess everybody step aside. It's Wemby's time. I mean, 18 shots, Chad. How many shots did they have as a team? What was their team? Where was their team stats at? Get full box score here. Let's see. 43. 18 of 43. So he's at what, like 45% of their offense right now? He has 10 3-pointers alone. The rest of the team has 9. Again, he's plus 14. He's dominating, chat, but he's not Steph Curry. That's the problem. Now, Brunson, 3 for 10 from the field. We'll take that. And again, Wemby, shout out. The defense is holding the Knicks to 39% from the field. The Spurs, a little 53-36. Up 7, though. You know, if Brunson hits a couple of shots, they'll be right back in it. But let's take a quick halftime timeout, chat, and then we will be right back with the second half of and the rest of the first quarter. Oh, the Chiefs got it, chat. Wemby distracted us. Wemby's box score distracted us, but the Chiefs keep moving the ball. Okay, wait. We got to take a break. We'll be right back, chat. Give us a second. Okay, chat. We return with the Chiefs touchdown. Kansas City gets into the end zone. It's Xavier Worthy scooting up the sideline. Mahomes takes him right down the field. Uh-oh, Pittsburgh. maybe it's not maybe it's not the Christmas you were hoping for. I don't know if it's the Christmas you deserve either, but it maybe is the Christmas that you're going to get. 10-5? Yeah, I mean, the 1 seed has to be locked in at this point. What's Buffalo's record? I guess Buffalo maybe is a little sneaky still there, but 2 weeks left. I guess we do want Sam to have a good... The thing is, Sam's Christmas is going to be fine whether or not they lose this game. Like, the Chiefs are 14-1. They're the best team in the AFC. Mahomes is cooking right now. And what is Mahomes' MVP odds, chat? Because I know that his season has been a little bit memeable from some of the performance issues and pause. And the defense carried him early in the year. We get that. And they make no mistake, they did rely on the run game. Oh, Butker misses the extra point. Wow, a rare miss. And Butker's been a little iffy since returning from injury. So is that going to be the storyline, chat? We'll see if they get into field goal range and what happened. And I think Butker had a miss from short range also last week and then kicked in a long one. So he's a little bit of a gunner. Like, he's got a big leg. Maybe with that injury, I don't know, for some reason, maybe he's pulling it weird on these short kicks. But he's been arguably the most reliable kicker in the league over the last couple of years. I mean, the Tucker thing has obviously gotten to a real low point this year, but he has been a little missy over the last couple of years. Like, he's been still a really good kicker, but he hasn't been all-time Justin Tucker automatic from everywhere on the field. Like, you could probably say Butker has been the best kicker in the league over the last couple of years, and he's probably been first-team All-Pro as well in that mix. I would imagine. I guess Brandon Aubrey, was he the first-team All-Pro kicker from last year? Chat, does anybody know the year-by-year first-team All-Pro for the kicker? I don't know. Maybe Butker doesn't get that respect. Wow, he doesn't, chat. 94%. I guess 75% 2 years ago. Yeah, he was a little inconsistent for sure. But I guess last year specifically, he was automatic. Look at that. Extra points, perfect. 94% last year. I mean, there's a 92, 89, 89. I mean, it's 89% for his entire career. Outside of 22 and then this season. So I guess he's had moments where you could make the case that he is the best kicker in the league. But the clutchness that he's been for him as well, he's hit a big kick every time they've needed from him. And kicks that have been, tough kicks to make too. We've paused. There's been some long ones in there. But it's just that continued assurance of that they could score from anywhere on the field. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league. Of course, he can get you down for a touchdown. But if the defense makes a good play and he can't, their odds are Mahomes is at least going to get you into field goal range, and Butker at least gave you the confidence that he would knock it in from anywhere. But maybe with this injury, chat, maybe that changes things. And again, with Mahomes, like if Mahomes just has to go down for a touchdown, pause, like maybe he will. But being great in all three aspects of the game is, of course, what champions are made of. I mean, Belichick would love a great kicking game. So if it's a struggle, if it's not up to par, it is at least something that needs to be mentioned. But with Mahomes, chat, as the MVP thing seems to have opened up a little bit, again, like it seemed like Allen had it on lock after a couple of those performances. But, at least people are just giving the league a lot these last couple of weeks to give these players these performances to try to see if anybody's able to catch up. And Mahomes is, if the record is this good, I get maybe it hasn't been pretty all the way around, and maybe Mahomes' stats haven't been as great or whatever, but I don't know. The last month, chat, he's really been back into full Mahomes territory. And maybe they are just, again, going down for touchdowns a little bit more as well. I don't know if the Butker thing forced them into that, but that kind of drive completion is just going to, I mean, that's, more points, chat, but that's going to make you look better as well, too, from that MVP standpoint in terms of just getting your team into field goal range all the time. And now Butker, you're relying on Butker to try to finish drives off. And they haven't had a run game either. So Mahomes creating with his legs has been maybe once again the best thing for him on the ground. So you go, if Allen and Lamar are doing the two-way thing, Mahomes is probably responsible for more ground than, because, Lamar has Derrick Henry. Lamar has arguably the best running back in the league. And Josh Allen maybe doesn't have the best run game behind it, but I think we all love James Cook. And Ty Johnson's had some good games. So I think the Buffalo run game, where outside of Allen, whether you would rank that high in the league or not, you'd still probably rank it over Kansas City's. Oh, what's this, chat? An alternate Disney broadcast? Whoa, Goofy? Goofy's playing in an alternate broadcast? Is Wemby Goofy? We might have to go check that out, chat. Shout out. I don't know. Goofy was going to be on. If Goofy's on for Christmas, I'd spend a little time with Goofy. Why not? Shout out. Pluto? Was Pluto out there? Is there a Goofy Christmas movie? We need to really try to expand what we watch for Christmas movies. It was like Christmas Vacation 4 times this year. Oh, no, we don't want just... Have yourself a goofy little Christmas? Here we go, chat. A goofy little Christmas. Let's see what this is about. And, if we are not up to, up to par on our goofy knowledge, that's our bad. But it really just stops at the Goofy movie. And yeah, the Goofy movie's a classic. You're not gonna hear us criticize it at all. But is it just on YouTube? Goofy Trap Christmas? Oh, is this like a song? Is that a remix? The trap version? But if we haven't branched out into the Goofy universe, the Goof Troop universe, maybe 2025. We'll add that into the New Year's resolution. 22 minutes, chat? I'll just watch this on the drive over to my grandma's. Can I listen to the Goofy movie in the car? Wow. Shout out. So we can go watch the Goofy alternate broadcast and then go watch A Goofy Little Christmas. We could probably, 22 minutes, we could throw that on during halftime. Stephen A's on the halftime show, so it's going to go long. Is Netflix doing an alt broadcast? What would be the Netflix version? A Squid Games alternate broadcast? Oh, that might be cool. Is that the new show that's dropping? Did Outer Banks just dropped? What's hot on Netflix right now, chat? 2025, you guys know, has been more the year of Tubi than it is the year of Netflix for me. Oh, no. Pittsburgh just fumbled the kickoff. This could be quickly turning into the most disastrous team performance of the day because now we have the NFL and the NBA to compare and make jokes against. Like, who's going to suck worse, the Sixers or the the Steelers, chat? The Sixers were the favorite going into the day of disappointing. Is Embiid even playing tonight? Let's get a double check on this, chat. What is Embiid up to? I would assume he's at least going to try to give it a go and just see. Yeah, ejected for the last game. Shout out. Still didn't matter. Tyrese Maxey. Too much. A couple of clutch shots at the end. Put away. Okay, so Embiid is active for tonight. So with Embiid active, I think that ups the disappointment meter even more because now Sixers fans probably go, oh, maybe there's a little bit of a chance that there's a good game. But, look at this, chat. We're talking about one of the worst teams versus one of the best teams, just record-wise. Spurs-Knicks is a better record matchup than Sixers-Boston. And maybe even just straight up a better team matchup as well, too. And maybe that's not the hottest take because you go Boston's the best team in the league. By how much are they the best team in the league? But you know, Philly was supposed to be in that mix. Philly was supposed to be a contending team. Philly was supposed to be closer to Boston. They were supposed to be with New York in that mix of the next team competing for that spot. And the Spurs had the chance to, and they're turning into a good team. I mean, we're an above 500 team at this point. We could be 16-14 if we win this game, if we hold out in the second half. I mean, that's pretty good. And good on the road as well. Or I guess, sorry, good at home. Not necessarily good on the road, but decent on the road. But we were not supposed to be talent-wise closer and competitiveness-wise closer to the Knicks than the Sixers were to Boston, especially with Embiid and one of the best players in the league. And maybe I'm undervaluing the Spurs and what Wemby can propel that team to, but I'm giving Embiid and Maxey and Paul George, those three guys, that's a lot of talent for the Sixers. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt of what they should have been going into the season. So they were the odds-on favorite for most disappointing Christmas experience for fans. I think Denver's sneaky in there as well, but they're on the road. Is Kevin Durant active for tonight? Kev Underpants. Shout out Katie Nolan. Shout out Max Strus. He's almost back. Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's... Seems like Durant's good to go. No Booker. So apparently we can't have them both, chat. We can only get one good Phoenix Suns player at a time. Here's why they're 14-14. I see Golden State, LA. I guess if there's a blowout either way, then both those teams would feel bad. But both those teams kind of feel like the same vibes a little bit for going into the season. And I guess, oh, man. Okay, it's 3rd and 11. I was going to say, I was about to look over in the whole... Did the Chiefs already have the ball back after scoring again? But no, okay, Pittsburgh's defense. Do they feel the urgency? TJ Watt, I mean, maybe the second best player in the league behind Mahomes. Pause. No disrespect to Josh Allen. TJ Watt, maybe the best non-quarterback in the league. Best quarterback versus best non-quarterback? Was that the idea, chat? Or was it just competitive potential AFC matchup, Tomlin versus Andy Reid? It was probably just putting the good coach teams on and maybe valuing and just thinking that, oh, wow, Mahomes. Flipping it for a first down. Is it going to get called back? It may. There's a penalty on the play. But if you put the good coaches on for Christmas, maybe even if the teams aren't well and there's some injuries and whatnot, maybe you're still going to get good performances because you know the baseline is those coaches at least demand. And they're at least going to get good effort out of their guys. Like Tomlin's at least going to have a 500 team whether or not the quarterback's playing well. Andy Reid, you know the offense is going to be good. So it's like a low baseline but also high ceiling game. And again, obviously it's good teams, good franchises, but good coaches. We've got Andy Reid, Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, DeMeco Ryans. Just immediately getting his name in the mix. But, of course, I mean, you know, head coach of the year type material in Houston. The underhand flip for 11 yards by Mahomes. The penalty is on Pittsburgh. It never is on Kansas City. I don't know why we thought it was going back. I mean, it literally is never on Kansas City, chat. Oh, and he's got the receiver deep. Is that Watson? Justin Watson inside the 15. And I feel like Watson has had a little case of the drops lately. Just a tad of the drops. Mahomes maybe not giving him perfect passes on the ones that I'm thinking of, but Justin Watson has been a reliable downfield receiver for him over the past couple of years, and he's had a couple of left opportunities on the board. Again, not meaning anything as they ultimately end up winning all these games, but we have to pretend like maybe it means something when the Chiefs don't play well and when they have a bad performance. Oh, into the jump ball, end zone, Hopkins. Nope. And Hopkins has not been as active as maybe I thought he would have been. I know that, you're not necessarily bringing in Julio Jones at this stage in his career, but I still thought maybe you could get, wide receiver 1. I thought, man, a go-to guy, a third down in a playoff game. And maybe he's still on a third down. He can still get open. We don't want to count him out for that. But, I feel like he's been more 4 or 5 receptions a game than he has a heavy usage guy. I mean, Worthy tackled by his own offensive lineman on the jet sweep. Seems like he actually had a little bit more space there as well. That's tough. Worthy's so small, I don't even think the offensive lineman saw him running around. Just at the last second, he's like, wait a second, there comes the receiver. Cam Hayward just in his eyesight, totally covering up the receiver. And the offensive lineman couldn't see him. They collide. Pittsburgh has 1 total yard with 4 minutes left in the first. Insane. Mahomes is that Watson again? Watson gets that one with 2 hands. He's not dropping it. And right away, Mahomes puts the Steelers away. Maybe Pittsburgh has a couple of good drives here. I don't think Mahomes is going to give up a 13-point lead. I mean, do they just go for 2? A 14-point lead? So back to Wemby we are. Back to the Spurs. Back to this NBA game. The Christmas belongs to NBA. And Mahomes is making sure of that. Nobody watched the NFL. This game's over. There's no need. We know it's Mahomes. We know it's the Chiefs. But it's kind of been the Steelers as well, too. I mean, that's 2 touchdowns off of 2 turnovers. So I don't know, early storylines, if this continues, are we going to get the Chiefs are fully back, the dominance? This is the first high-powered performance we've seen from the Chiefs in a long time. And they have moved the ball. They have been productive. But again, that's 2 turnovers for Pittsburgh, completely killing their offense, giving Kansas City opportunities to score in short fields. And New York has tied it up as well, too, in the third. Wemby, is he going to shoot 23s? Like, where does his stat line go in the second half? I feel like we've seen that before. A guy put up the big numbers, of course, and have the second half that's a little more chill. Maybe he finishes with, like, a 32, whatever and whatever. The overall game kind of looks normal, and you go, wait a second, that first half, what happened there? But again, with as competitive as they are, and I think maybe the game plan might be a little more Wemby focused. But this is kind of where they're at offensively as well. I know I like some of the young talent. Sohan for corner 3. Oh, he buries that. Okay, give the other guys some chance. Give the other guys some opportunity. Sohan, after not taking a single 3, and just nobody shooting 3s besides Wemby in the first half. Just on demand when needed. Oh, and Bridges looks good fending off Wemby there. Fending off Wemby? Bridges? Attacking? I know there was a time when we were like, can he just get back to catch and shooting 3s at a consistent rate? But that's that lead scorer Bridges. I mean, that's taking Wemby off the dribble, going right at him. That's a beautiful move, shielding that block side with his body, but also that blocker arm, kind of making sure you control that as well. That close arm. And Wemby can get you with that off arm, but once you have to cross over, I feel like your risk for a foul goes up. You have to, the movement of your body, but just the look of that cross, maybe a little more foul-like. Because we know refs will call based on what it looks like. Of course, as you expect them to do. But that one could be maybe a little more tempting for the whistle than the others. So will Towns? Oh, Towns will feel the need to attack Wemby. Barreling down the lane and just getting a dunk. So that's the thing about Wemby. He hasn't, been able to keep a guy in front of him this year necessarily. So if another center like Towns or, another guy that can kind of get his own shot feels the need to go at him. I mean, who had that massive dunk on him the other day, Chad? Of course, I just blanked that out of my memory like it was trauma. But Somebody had a massive throwdown on him. Oh, Chad, I really wish I could remember who it was. I want to give him his fair credit. Towns hits a 3 in Wemby's face and lets out a roar. 11 points in the quarter for Towns. He's taking the Wemby. Back-to-back mic unplugs. He must not have secured it enough the last time. Again. Testing. Okay, 3, 2, 1. I think we're back. Hopefully you heard us last time, chat. Were we plugged in from the last unplug? Everything says we're coming in clear, but hopefully it's all true. Pickens down the field. So now that the Steelers actually have a chance to move the ball, maybe Pickens will actually do something. But we've got no fantasy obligations this week either, chat. We're out of the fantasy playoffs. The bye week, we were rusty as a fantasy manager. We did not set our lineup as correctly as we should have. Cost us the week. I don't think Bucky Irving put up the 30 points that we needed to. To be honest, chat, I haven't even checked yet, but I know we lost. If we somehow did win, which I'm certain we would have been playing our brother in the fantasy championship game and he would have mentioned something about it. But if we did win, I mean, we'll just ride with the lineup that somehow Bucky Irving miraculously pulling off the 40-point performance. Okay, so 2 plays for Pittsburgh, and they're right back in the red zone. Maybe we shouldn't feel too bad. Maybe, sloppy plays is more so than just they're not capable of moving the ball. It's like we didn't even see him really have that opportunity. And I guess the one was off pressure. A kickoff is a little different. But the other one was Wilson pressured. And I guess he didn't necessarily fumble. They didn't turn over on that versus the 3 and out. But so I guess I misspoke with the 2 turnovers earlier. My bad. But 2 turnover-worthy plays. So Warren gets in. Touchdown. It's a game, chat. Finally, Pittsburgh able to string together a possession. Right down the field and score. No way, chat. A holding call on Pittsburgh. Saved it for the best play of the game. Perfect timing by the refs. The refs might they might call a great game in terms of timing for the Chiefs. In terms of moments. I don't know, chat. That is a call, what we were just talking about for the NBA. They called that based on the guy falling to the ground. I don't know, chat. That looked like a Darnell Washington manhandling his defender. Pause. It looked like he just won the rep. Can you get a foul for winning the rep too dominantly? I mean, I think you can. Oh, and Wilson on the next play immediately throws a pick. Russell Wilson in the end zone, a common occurrence. We've seen it before. Fortunately, it's only Christmas and not the Super Bowl. Is Beyonce performing at this game or the next game? Definitely NRG Stadium, right? She's not performing outside at Pittsburgh at noon on a Christmas? She's probably performing later in Houston. Cowboy Carter would make more sense just based on that as well, too. Not even that it's a dome. Unbelievable, chat. I mean, what did we just say? The refs, perfect timing. Jalen Warren right up the middle, back-to-back plays. The run has worked. And Russell Wilson hit Pickens as well down the sideline for a pass, so we can't say that this early in the game you can lose faith in Russell Wilson, but the run play that's successful, and then you back him up as well. So they feel like they kind of have to pass to get back into a more manageable down situation. Bridges with the fadeaway, so it's a Bridges-Town show in New York, and I get you want Brunson to show out for your fans, to have your star player have a good game in a big stage in the regular season, just again in terms of that entertainment value more so than anything competitively as well. But if we are talking competitively, seeing Bridges and Towns step up in his absence is, I think, an encouraging thing to have happen as well. Obviously, if you play bad and Towns has a good game, you're kind of in the same spot. But this Bridges sort of starting to cook and creating off the dribble as well. Because as nice as that would have been, and it's like, yes, you bring in a dynamic three-point shooter like Bridges. You bring in a guy that can be as good of a defender and as switchable as him. Those are all beneficial things, but you know, you can get three-point shooting and defense in 80% of Bridges from a lot of guys in the league. And maybe that's, you know, we're not trying to be overgeneralizing and simplifying Bridges' game. Like, Bridges as a 3-and-D player is a phenomenal 3-and-D player, but when he's giving you that shot creation and now all of a sudden he's attacking out of the corner, it just, you know, that's going to get the defense moving extra, but it's going to give you outlets for guys like Brunson and Towns. It's going to make life easier for them. And it really is ultimately at the end of the day what you traded for. You can try to talk yourself into a best case scenario, but you traded for a third star. You traded for a creator. You traded for a guy that needs to be able to go get his own bucket and needs to be able to be a star sidekick in a moment. I don't know if necessarily your number 3 needs to be a best player on a team. I mean, if he is, then, you know, that's when you get into super team territory, I guess. But kind of how we were talking about how me and Sam one time, how your your second best player needs to be able to, you know, be the star player from time to time and be able to be capable, I think, of being the star player in stretches, kind of like Jamal Murray at the peak of his powers. Not that, of course, I think Murray would ever be the best player on a court with Jokic just because of how Jokic plays the game and how unselfish he is and how high his IQ is. But maybe you need your third player to be able to step up into that number 2 player's sidekick role, creating off of the mismatches and the rotations and what the defense is giving you open, outside of just, oh, I'm going to hit an open corner 3, rotate the ball to me, I'll stand here and I'll just wait my turn. That is what you traded for in Bridges. And he's actually starting to give them that as well, too. He's actually creating off the dribble. He's getting the defense moving. But we've got to give Castle credit for his job on Brunson. I mean, he's a strong body, and that's the thing as well. Brunson, his ability to get into the post is such a neutralizer and such a good way for him to get going and still continue to be a productive player if his jump shot is not falling. But Castle is not giving him space on the perimeter to even really get into those spots. Like, you can see Castle's strength. And Wemby hits another 3. The three-point tracker, 5 for 13. So that's his first make of the half. Oh, man. What is he at? Are we going to get to 17 now, chat? Maybe 20 is a little rich, but I mean, 17, 18 is not out of the picture. He's taken 2 this quarter. So we could probably, do we get him for 1 more this quarter and then maybe 3 in the 4th? 4 more, so that would put him at 17. Whew. He'd really be firing, chat. And Sohan that time, good defender in his own right. Brunson is able to kind of get into the lane, get a little floater off. And it's about time that Brunson starts hitting, too. He's due. This time on Wemby. Oh, get it out of here. Oh, they call that a goaltend. I don't know, chat. I think that... What's the replay? I thought he got that on the way up. Oh, no, I don't think he did. That's about as... That's close. There is a challenge. I was going to suggest a challenge, but it's... The problem is if it's not going down, it's like definitely at the peak, and it's probably too close to the... It's too close to it starting to go down for them to overcall it. I think there is a little bit of a dip. But he's taken more 3s than 2s. 13 3s to 10 2s in 4 free throws. I mean, that just gives you the opportunity to get a couple more. Oh, excuse me, chat. Christmas pancakes. Starting to send us into a little Christmas nap. But it gives you the opportunity for more free throws as well, too. I mean, 2 trips to the line, chat. If he was maybe thicker, we'd demand more free throws from him. But since you assume he's not going to be barreling people over, then maybe he can get away with it a little bit more. But regardless, we're going to need at least 2 to 3 trips alone in the fourth quarter. And he is a sneaky league leader in shooting a fadeaway jump shot and then falling to the ground afterwards, not getting the foul call. And I'm not saying not getting the foul call as in they're missing the call. I'm just saying, like, falling to the ground, expecting the call, and then it not happening. And there are times when you're like, okay, I get it. Like, it's a good defender. He's playing strong right there. You want to give him the benefit of the doubt. And maybe Wemby just needs to put on a few more pounds. But there are also other times where it's like, okay, he probably should have gotten that one there. So I'm sure it balances out. But it also, you need to do your own part in drawing your free throws and the Harden sweeping through, drawing the contact, initiating the contact. And I guess it's harder for Wemby to kind of initiate contact because a lot of that is, like, Harden did a lot of it with his shoulders, obviously. And he was able to bump into guys and still be on balance and be able to maintain enough. He was still locked in enough to be able to be around the rim and still convert a lot of the shots and still be attacking and still getting the and ones. But Wemby's shoulders are just like so much higher than everybody else's. Is it just harder for him to kind of initiate the contact on some of these drives? Because now you're like barreling into people with their hips. That's a pause. No Chris Jones tonight either for the Chiefs. Wow, so the defense, I mean, the turnovers have been so dynamic and they've gotten off the field so quickly on those first couple possessions that you didn't even notice Chris Jones wasn't even out there. But the pressure has still been there without him. So without Chris Jones in the run game, I know the pass game is going to benefit as well, but that run game we saw be successful in that last drive, and I think we might have found the reason with that injury. So I don't know. Become a running team. You want to be a running team anyways, but they might have to go Anthony Richardson style for this one. Is this a 15-pass game for our boy Russ? Danger Russ. He's dangerous to the Steelers right now. Not necessarily a threat as an opponent. Will we see Justin Fields this Christmas? Will Justin Fields get a Christmas present and end up on the field playing in this game against the Chiefs? We may see him in the second half. I wouldn't be shocked. Especially since maybe if the game starts to slip away against Kansas City, Kansas City's likeliness of just letting you get back in the game based on what they do. Like, they're not going to potentially make those sloppy plays and those sloppy turnovers, and all of a sudden you go, how did we get back in this game? It's like, well, Kansas City gave it away. If Kansas City goes up by like 21 or whatever here, maybe that's security of a victory for them. Maybe you just go, hey, we'll play Fields because we don't necessarily think, hey, what happens if Russ leads us to a comeback? We'll see what happens with Fields for this one. And if Fields does manage to string together some great drives and put us in scoring position, we'll absolutely take that. But I could see a backup QB appearance in this game. Oh, chat. Wow. The yawns hit hard there for a sec. Sorry. 80-78. And the Knicks defense really has been an important part of this Spurs offensive run here. And I think they played good for the most part. But there have been some rotating on the threes that has let the Spurs back in this one and giving them the lead so far. So Brunson out there, no Towns. Brunson, Anunoby. Achua. So kind of a two big lineup. Going big when the Spurs don't have a center. Trying to counter the size. The Spurs got Castle, Sohan, Champagny, Vassell, and who's the fifth guy? Who did I say? Oh, Keldon Johnson is also the fifth guy. So, yeah, not really a center, but a lot of 6'7". A lot of length. It's all very similar, chat. Okay, Brunson going to the line. Oh, the booth. Okay, the booth for this game is Ian Eagle, J.J. Watt, and Nate Burleson. That's a good booth. I'm in. The CBS booth? Is there a little partnership? It would make sense. I didn't know if they were going to go get original talent for the Christmas Day game. The problem is that's such a big game to really get that kind of one-off ordeal for. And I guess you don't really have any sort of live sports football thing in the works, so you wouldn't need to sign him to any type of contract. So you'd be paying, you know, potentially, I guess it would just depend on who the new person is, if it was more or less. But now you're paying a bunch of individual people for, you know, this single shortened thing, this one game off scenario. But if you just get the partnership, you bring in the talent, you say, hey, for a day. And I guess it's going to be a lot of overlapping talent anyways. But like I'm saying, you don't have to audition out like a new guy. Find a new breaking into the industry voice by voice guy. But you could also, you know, like, I mean, Ian Eagle's son, like Noah Eagle, he's been doing the, what is he? He's been, not Sunday night, but necessarily. But he's been in and out for a lot of the NBC performances in terms of, I think, some of the college football. Did he do the playoff game? Is that what I'm thinking of? I think he did Indiana, Ohio State. I was trying to think of what big event game he did recently. And he always does such a great job. Like, could you get him? Like a younger guy like that? And just say, hey, we're going forward, like any sort of football, basketball, any of these live sports that we walk and find ourselves falling into. You will be the number one guy. And then just get that taken care of right away. So, yeah, Warren right away. Picking up the first down. And they're not even really running up the middle necessarily, but it is just that whole line shift. And when Chris Jones is in the middle of your defensive line and then the people are worried more about the center, like the literal center point of the defensive line versus, you know, maybe actually laying down the correct blocking scheme, you know, that's going to be disruptive as well. That's going to throw an offense or two off, that's for sure. Okay, 60 seconds left. Tied almost into the fourth quarter. Wow, on the verge of a nail-biter, people. A Christmas Day nail-biter. Oh, Castle stuffed by Achua. A little 5-on-5 crime. I don't know if that statement will get us in trouble, but is there any groups that, what's the 5 chat? That sounds gang-related. 5-on-5 crime sounds gang-related. I guess it also sounds cop-related as well, 5-0. 5-on-5 crime. Little cop pull over a cop situation. Third and 8 already for Pittsburgh again. How many yards did Pittsburgh even move the ball this time? Okay, they are in the red zone almost. They're at the 21. So hopefully Boswell's able to make from here. I guess Boswell's been the butker for this year. Boswell has been the breakout guy. Next level, like, breakout guy. He would be an interesting case for most improved because I feel like he's been such a mainstay guy. But with the Butker injury as well and and just Boswell's overall consistency, he's kind of, I think, earned best kicker in the title. And Brandon Aubrey as well, I feel like hasn't been as consistent as maybe people would want. Maybe you would need from a guy with that strong of a leg to consider him the best in the league. 1 Pro Bowl in his career. 92% so far this year from field goal percentage. 100% free throw percentage. 93% last year field goal percentage. Wow, so he's been in 94 of the 5 of the last 6 years. He's been above 90. So, yeah, Boswell's been in that conversation for best, most consistent kicker in the league. And then Tucker had the belt, and maybe Butker had the belt last year. And Boswell's jumped up and grabbed it this year. It's like the random quarterback breaks out every year. The random kicker breaks out every year. Oh, Wilson does get in the end zone on the scramble this time. So there we go. They do actually move the ball twice down the field. Unfortunately, the first time they just let Russ throw into the middle of it. Stick to the run game. Russ, create with your legs. That's perfect. Oh, the pylon cam confirming it. The ball is across the end zone before the knee is down. Okay, so they do put a score on the board before the Chiefs are able to put up 21. So it's still a game here. I guess the Chiefs will be getting the ball back to make that decision, but they put themselves in a good spot again. A stop? And who knows, chat? Again, that missed extra point. After a stop here, that could actually look pretty important. They're 3.5 right now as of today, but I don't know. You can always see that go up. Out this game, so maybe they go to that a little bit in the fourth quarter too. But not that having Towns on Wemby would be a bad thing. I mean, it might be. I don't think Towns' defense is a strong point, of course. But I just think you think Wemby is one of those guys where, yeah, you think Anunoby could be able to hold up against a 5, a normal center. And maybe because of Anunoby or Wembanyama's overall build, maybe Anunoby can. But maybe just because Towns gives you that extra couple inches pause to guard Wembanyama with, maybe that will end up being the run. So they end the quarter on a 10-0 run with the 5-point lead. Uh-oh, chat. This is the turning point in the game right here. And Wemby starts the fourth quarter with a jam. The lob to Wembanyama to start the quarter. Oh, excuse us, chat. I didn't mean to do that right in the mic. Okay, Achua for corner 3. That's what we want to see happen. I don't know how you get that as your first shot in the fourth quarter. Feels like that should be limited to the first 3 quarters only. And they'll start with Achua at the 5-2. So is Bridges just play the whole fourth quarter? Bridges and Hart? Maybe Bridges, Hart, and Brunson all. I think Brunson will get a fourth quarter break. Oh, the sky-high jump by Wemby. And it's a perfect spot now, too, because they're down 3. So Wemby can take a 30-footer on this end. Try to tie it up. Oh, it's Champagnie. Okay, Champagnie missed. Go back to Wemby. See, that's the problem. When anybody else misses, it's like, we'll just have Wemby shoot it. But Wemby's going to take... I mean, Champagnie's corner 3 is probably a better shot than Wemby's 30-footer. Even if Wemby is hitting 40% in the game. I'm just an old man fan. It is what it is. As much as I want to... I want Wemby to have the three-point element in his game. And if Wemby is having games where he's firing away from 3 and shooting double-digit three-pointers, that's not a bad thing. But you don't need to average 12 a game. Now, swooping in for the layup here. I mean, you know, if it's 12 in the first half and then I guess 3 in the second half, you know, is that the style for Wemby? Is that his approach? We're going tons of 3s in the first half. And then in the second half, top of the key, the driving, the swooping layups. They'll get him posted up on that side that they like him to post up on. Maybe a couple looks out of there. But that time, it was actually what you want to see. Achua's on him, that spin to the lane. From the free throw line, like swooping around. There's just no way Achua's going to block that. When you get these small matchups on you, I mean, you got to be cooking Achua anyways, but still. Like that size of a guy, a backup center, you know, he's not going to block that shot. And there's Champagnie from the other side in the corner. I mean, we're right there with these teams, Chad. The three-point shooting, when it's good, we're locked in with these other teams. And Wembanyama is, night to night now, the best player on the court. I mean, Wemby is not, I'm not going to say he's the best player in the league. Even I am not going to say that. Like, I have too much respect for where Jokic and Giannis are at. Jokic and Giannis are at in their careers and how well they are playing. But those are the only 2 guys that I respect more than Wembanyama. I guess I'll put it that way. I get Shea and the Thunder are doing their thing, and Shea as well, too, I think has a little bit more under his belt at this point. I mean, Shea is a first-team All-NBA guy. He's been on the MVP ballot. So Shea has slightly more pedigree to make his case with. And if you wanted to pick Shea based on his status, I get it. Doncic as well, too, taking his team to the finals. I get that. But none of them are as impactful as Wembanyama with the as impactful defensively as Wembanyama. And then you get that offense when he's cooking on offense as well, too. And that combination is why you drafted him, Chet, at his size. It's just too valuable. And I honestly wouldn't take any of those other guys. And I don't know. I just love Giannis so much, Chat. Like, maybe I would just pause. I respect Giannis so much as a basketball player that obviously I would never trade. Well, I guess you can never say never, Chat. But I don't know what would have to happen for me to want to trade Wembanyama for Giannis. It's just, again, with Wemby's upside, I don't think I would trade him for anybody. But Giannis would be the one guy. And that's no disrespect to Jokic. I get the Jokic should be on that list. And I mean, I would, if they announced it today and were like, hey, we just wanted to bring in Jokic and bring in one of the best basketball players of all time, I'd be like, hey, well, I guess we got Jokic now. That's fine. But I just, like I'm saying, Giannis's poster material, Chat. I'm maybe more in on Giannis now, too, that this face of the league stuff has started to sort of ratchet up. And everybody's sort of figuring out what's going wrong with the league and everybody pointing at players and going, he's not captivating enough. Why aren't people rallying around him? He's not, the face of the league. He's not this. He's not that. And it's like, no, Giannis is absolutely like a star face of the league. He's just maybe in kind of a bad TV show right now. I don't know if that's a perfect comparison because, it's like a TV, I guess it's his team, the TV show, and then his league is like the network, like the station. So he's like, it's like a, in Practical Jokers, of course, great team on, but the network, then it's like, how do they raise the network? Is it like the Yankees, chat? Or it's like the Yankees do well financially, but maybe the rest of the league is like, then maybe needing some revenue sharing. I guess we'd have to continue to work out the crossover, but I just don't think his being maximized right now. And I guess at the end of the day, if people aren't tuning in to watch, it's maybe Giannis is, of course, responsible for that as well. Like we're saying, there is some playoff stuff in there too. But at the end of the day, I think Giannis checks all the boxes. So does Jokic, but we know Giannis is a little bit more charming of a personality, and the basketball talent is there too. The problem is the NFL, you get Mahomes as your best player, and he can be, a lead marketable guy. Maybe he's not always like Mr. Quotable, Mr. Funny, whatever, but, he's still a guy that people like, and they like seeing him. And he's fun when he's in a commercial and all that stuff. Like, nobody's mad when Mahomes pops up, I don't think. Bridges, the corner three. The problem is the Knicks just can't get a stop. Bridges is on Chris Paul right now. Kind of an interesting move. So that's where the Trey Jones second point guard comes into effect. But they're really running the two-man game opposite side of the court with Wembanyama very well. I mean, Chris Paul just stood on the wing that time. Bridges was not involved in that play defensively at all. And they moved the ball around and got it to Wembanyama easy under the basket. Wemby on these pick and rolls is just Brunson can't get a shot off. Brunson cannot do anything over Wembanyama. Champagny again. Oh. Bad miss, chat. But we like Champagny in the corners, so we're still fans. But they're not switching either. Well, I guess they are switching, but when he is going off for that pull-up jumper, because I guess sometimes you get into that pull-up as a switch happens. So what I mean is they're not switching for him to like attack the switch, where he's switching out, he gets Wemby in the ISO, and then he's trying to attack Wemby. Like he's trying to pull up right away and shoot as Wemby comes up as the help defender. But it's just Wemby's so long that even on that split second that you would think off that screen that you would have, it's just not there. Wemby swallows that space up. Oh, Bridges doesn't need any space for that three. Wow, what is Bridges up to right now for points? 32! 5 for 7 for three. Wemby on the other end. He cannot let anybody else hit a three. It just cannot happen. Wemby might be the most vindictive three-point shooter in the league. 42! 6 of 14. I mean, he's elite, chat. It's up near 50% now, so it's at some point we just have to give in and say, fire away. It's 2025. Three-point shooting is all the shots that we should be taking anyways. Trey Jones getting into the basket. So Mitch Johnson with the 2 point guards. You can still attack Brunson with one of them. Say, if they switch Bridges back onto Trey Jones or something, and we're like, well, Trey Jones is cooking now. Let's use our perimeter defender on this other guy. You're still going to be able to get away with that smaller player attacking Brunson. And Trey Jones as well is probably a little bit better driver than Chris Paul at this point. Chris Paul is still, of course, super crafty. The mid-range, the three-point shot is there. But just, I guess, the physicality that Trey Jones can approach Brunson with on a drive is a good matchup, I think, compared to Bridges as well. Bridges is feeling it. Another corner three. I think this has to be his season high, so saying this is his best performance with the Knicks is no surprise. But, you know, like this quarter, like these individual quarters as well, too. Like, I don't think he's had a moment for the Knicks where he's had this kind of stretch. And he's, again, had good stretches, but we just know Bridges is capable of more. I think that's the unwritten thing with Knicks fans. And I don't want to, you know, be the spoiled Knicks fan on the outside going, well, now Bridges is shooting threes. Like, can we get the all-star level Bridges back? But, I mean, in the back of your mind, again, that's what you're hoping for. You can go, we're giving up all this stuff to bring in a valuable 3-and-D guy. But no, at the end of the day, you need Bridges as that creator. You need him to get hot. And he's still kind of, you know, jacking up three-pointers right now. He's not cooking guys one-on-one, step back, whatever. But that offensive level he can get to as a elite scorer, or as one of the better scorers in the league, you need him to be at that more so than just a floor spacer, defensive guy, versatile, hustler. So they're reviewing a foul right now for Chris Paul setting a screen on Towns. I don't know what. Tony Brothers trying to keep the Knicks in the game, I think. Wemby, if he hits that three, it moves to a 7-point game. 8-point game, sorry. Did we get it back? Oh, wait. I think the foul was on Towns before the shot. Either way, the Spurs are getting the ball with 14 on the shot clock. And I would assume they are taking it out on the side. But that's 5 fouls for Towns now, though. So with 6 minutes left, I know defensively versus Wemby, you know, who knows what that means. But offensively, chat, they're losing a lot. But they're forced to put Anunoby on Wemby. Fortunately, the refs call a foul on Anunoby right away, but you could see him bodying Wemby on that drive. Wemby was stumbling around. Oh, no free throws again out the side. So this is good. Get us in the bonus. We want to be in free throw position for later. Pause. And they're going to run him off the ball now with Anunoby. Still the pick and pop. So Anunoby's not going to play him on that three-point shot, as I don't think you would. But if you're Anunoby, I guess, what do you... is your physicality? Do you think you could cut Wemby off on a drive, you know? Achua again in the corner for three. So 2 Achua corner threes in the fourth quarter is not peak offense for the Knicks. And I guess, yeah, with Towns out, what else are there other options, chat? Miles McBride is in the game. So Brunson is sitting down right now. Brunson's going to have to check back in for Achua. Because with Wemby shooting threes, you don't even need a big to rebound. Like, you know, the Spurs don't rebound without Wemby. Wemby may a time or two, like we saw earlier, really get aggressive and go for one. But for the most part, he's out at the three-point line. Is he at 15 now? 6 for 15. Josh Hart for 3. A guy you might actually want shooting of. It's a 2-point game with 5 minutes left. I mean, 42 points on 29 shots, chat, is actually very efficient. Like, this is actually a great... I mean, we don't have to say a 42 and 17 is a great game. But again, like, he's also getting this usage as well. So... you know, it's tough to just demand to just sit back and go, oh, well, he should put up 42. But, you know, if a guy's going to take 30 shots in a game, chat, like, come on. I get big game, you know, Kobe Bryant. We've seen a guy put up 30 on 30. But when we're nitpicking and we're looking and we're trying to see, and we're also like, okay, is this performance going to go down in the history books? Because again, a 30-shot performance, like there's a lot of ways that can go bad, chat. If he's, again, if it's a 30 on 30, it's probably, maybe it's iconic because it's Wemby's first Christmas game and it's a big stat line. And it is a close game here in an iconic ending. Like for all those are good factors for it to be that kind of a thing if it wasn't an efficient night. But now it's that added efficiency as well. So just on the rewatch value, it's like, okay, you're actually, you get to actually watch Wemby hit some buckets. There's not going to be a lot of misses. Not a lot of bad scenes in the Wembanyama performance from tonight versus Brunson has had himself a little struggle. 7 for 22. Still at 20 though somehow, chat. Hasn't hit a 3, 6 free throws. The math works out. But Towns, 9 of 16 so far. And yeah, Bridges with the 35. But Sohan is the second scorer tonight. Vassell is 1 for 4, 4 for 11. So now his starting lineup minutes kind of, I mean, and him as a player, stylistically, I mean, he's kind of flexible, so he's not throwing everything. I mean, you see, like, right now with Wemby, he's not throwing everything off with him being in the starting lineup, but just maximizing your rotation and maximizing his shot creation ability as well, because ideally he is maybe the number 2 scorer next to Wembanyama, but with a team that does have a lot of other talent on it as well, maybe he can take a Ginobili-esque kind of role. Because you think about, I guess, long-term, Barnes is not a future long-term guy for the team. It's a great asset to have this year. We love having Harrison Barnes. The Harrison Barnes experience is one I will remember fondly. So if you move Castle into that role, you can still bring Johnson and Champagnie and Trey Jones, I guess, off the bench. Charles Brassey, Malachi Branham maybe gets some more minutes as well. So maybe it's not too far off from, maybe it's not like they have too many guys for all this spot. Like, they have Barnes in there for now because he's a veteran guy, but you could always do what you have to do. So, Vassell could, I think, potentially end up back in that sort of secondary role. Most points in a Christmas Day debut. He's at 3rd right now. Wilt with 45 had the record. So if he hits another 3-pointer, somebody tell Wemby he needs to take another 3-pointer to break a record. It'll go. He'll put it up. 5 minutes? Oh, he can get at least 3 or 4 off. Anunoby. Oh, tough 3 by Anunoby. Right in Champagnie's face. So we got Paul, Vassell, Champagnie, Sohan, and Wemby. So yeah, Champagnie in for Barnes, I think is a common switch if Champagnie's playing well, which he has been tonight. 3 for 7 for 3. This is pretty good. His hustle. But Chris Paul in the 4th quarter, time and time again. I mean, Chris Paul is really like just having like this like dad in a pickup game that can just hit a bucket. It's like playing with these 8-year-olds, and he's like, not that he's that dominant, of course, but just in the 4th quarter, it seems like, oh, we need a bucket right now. Let me get to that little mid-range shot. Bop, bop. Let me get that off. Pause. Let me just little pick and roll. They think I'm going to take the shot here. Bounce pass, Wemby. Back to Wemby. Oh, it's a 3. He's open. Like, he's just so easily able to still get to his spots and get open looks. And he's so consistent. It's just like anytime they need to. Like right now, the Knicks got the lead. They're up 1. He runs the pick and roll with Wemby. Yeah, Wemby taking the 3. Maybe Chris Paul's going to have to keep it himself next time. Chris Paul secretly bailed Wemby out on his Christmas Day debut. Help the man. He was going for the McGrady record. Oh, and speaking of rebounding, Josh Hart rebounds the Bridges miss. Nobody boxing out that side of the lane. Vassell will take it himself. Sohan for 3. Oh, no. Oh, yes. He remains perfect on the day. 3 for 3, chat. Sohan. Will he actually be the Grinch that steals Christmas from the Knicks? Wow. A 20-pointer from Sohan on Christmas. Oh, Miles McBride? What? Why does he have a storyline in this game? At least Sohan is Miles McBride is a role player for sure for this Knicks team, but at least Sohan is like a secondary character. Bridges blocked by Wemby, saving the game. But Miles McBride doesn't need to be making big plays right now. Save it for the stars. Oh, Chris Paul to the line. Hopefully he's okay. Massaging that elbow. On the shooting arm. If he misses these free throws, blame it on the injury. Don't blame it on Chris Paul's history of choking in big moments. I guess I don't know why we're so... Is it just the state that the Spurs have been in with young guys recently? Why we're so great of, confident of having Chris Paul in these big moments? And it's also, I guess, our own expectations of a team. We're not bringing in Chris Paul to make us a title-winning team. That's for sure. And make no mistake, chat, we are officially late for the family Christmas dinner. It's just what it is. Hopefully there's not a free throw barrage here at the end of the game. And they won't be too upset. But again, we got all the gifts open, We got the main... Christmas Eve is a big Christmas night as well, too. So we got that one out of the way. I mean, they'll understand, chat. Wemby Yammy? Our grandma's going to be like, were you watching Wemby Yammy? No, if she knew anything about Wemby Yammy, that would be pretty impressive. But there may be like an uncle, a cousin, Somebody knows. Oh, Bridges. Christmas belongs to Bridges, people. We thought today was going to be so on the old Free Dawkins highlight page, the Hardwood Classics, Bridges versus Wembanyama. See, Bridges is a star player that gets a storyline in this. I think Brunson versus Wemby is the place to start. But if you had told me at the end of the day, Bridges is also going to go for 40, I'd be like, okay, yeah, Bridges. Great player, for sure. That makes sense. If you said Miles McBride is going to hit the clenching shot, I'd be like, oh, come on. That's no fun. Achua's going to make a game-winning play. Miles Bridges is not going to let him. He gets Chris Paul on the switch. Like we're saying, the shot creation right now is the best we've seen for Bridges in a while, too, chat, because... I mean, he was struggling on the Knicks, or not the Knicks, sorry, the Nets, after that run from last season as well. And now down 5 with 60 seconds left, chat. I don't know if they're going to be able to close it out. But when was the last time Bridges even had 40? And, his roles changed on this Knicks team, his opportunities to get 40. 40 is a crazy number, Bridges has 28 in a game. You're loving that. But let's go back to last year, chat. With Brooklyn, 82 games, 19 points a game. Again, he was, 25, 26 when he first got traded there. Whoops. Here we go. Did he score 40 last year? 38. Oh, okay, so he had 42 points in January of last year. And 45. Okay, so he had 3 40-pointers last year. He had a couple of big performances. Oh. Down. Okay, 45 seconds. We shouldn't lose all hope quite yet. Chris Paul's going to take a 3. Oh, there it is, chat. We can't lose all hope yet. Is it our ball? Timeout, Knicks. They had Brunson trapped in the corner. He fell over, but I think he got the timeout. So 45 in a loss to Atlanta. He had 42 in a loss to Portland. 7-point loss to Portland. And then where was that old third 40-point game? I guess we can just do this, chat. And he had 42 in a 28 win against Orlando. So, you know, a very important 42 and a dominant win. But this type of game, Bridges, a big performance in a big stage in a clutch game where it actually maybe matters. We're checking some boxes here, Bridges. We're seeing some things that we want to see in terms of the playoffs. Not that maybe the Spurs are a measuring stick for a playoff team, but a measuring stick of going up against a great player, a measuring stick of being in a great environment as well, too, as it is on Christmas. And Bridges being the lead guy is what you want to see. And like we're saying, that last bucket as well, too, that's off the pick and roll, that's getting the switch. But he knew, he almost knew what was going to happen there. And I guess I don't know if it was predetermined if he was going to get to that spot. But he got Paul on him, didn't even stop, immediately crossed back over into the lane. That little weave move that almost Chris Paul does himself. And then that little fadeaway from the elbow there. So he's matched Wemby. And 17 of 25, I mean, efficiency was Bridges' calling card back in the day. We're seeing it again here. That's what we're talking about, folks. I mean, nothing gets us going more than a good field goal percentage. Whoa, back-to-back timeouts. The rare double timeout. So the TV advertisers are loving it. Fortnite, it's their time to shine. You'd never see this, chat. Oh, halftime. Okay, so Steelers, sorry, fourth quarter of this game. I forgot there was football on. Who cares about football when Wemby's almost going to win? 13-7, though. Apparently nothing happened in the second quarter. So good thing, chat, they saved all the boring action for while we weren't watching. Because I guess what? The second half of this will go up against the first half of Mavs Timberwolves. So that'll be good. That'll be good. Now, maybe that game, I think that game will be close in the second half. That game will be a good game all the way down to the wires. So it'll be able to go second half. And then are the other two games going to align? So we're probably going to get Boston Philly's probably going to start a little bit before Ravens-Texans. So by the time that game's a blowout, we'll be able to watch Ravens-Texans. And then depending on what happens with that game, it just determines on how much of Lakers-Warriors we watch. Like if it's a blowout, we get to watch the whole game. If not, we're still in for the second half, and then we're the full-on Nuggets-Suns for tonight. Which we got all the Christmas movies we needed to watch out of the way. Brunson misses the jumper off the back of the rim. The Spurs can't get the rebound, though. Literally on the ground, rolling around. Hart getting it back out to Brunson. They're going to play for the shot. Oh, the Spurs get the deflection. Anunoby gets the shot. It doesn't go. Hart again gets the rebound, and the Spurs just somehow can't box out and can't get the win. A 3-point game in New York. I guess, what was the line, chat? They probably covered, right? That's good. Can we console ourselves with that fact? 8.5? Okay. So they covered pretty good. That's not bad. We'll take that. An iconic Wemby performance. Like we said, not only did he put up a big number, he played extremely well. Like, this was a great Wembanyama game. He got outmatched by another great performance. Bridges was awesome tonight. And there's really nothing you can do about that except maybe get a stinking rebound on the last possession. But It's Christmas. We'll try not to be too sad. Like we said, the Spurs they're 500. So if you told us after Christmas we'd be 500, I'd say, yeah, you know what? If you told us Wemby put up 42 on Christmas and we'd be 500 after the game, I'd say, you know what? That sounds like a pretty good season. And with the way Wembanyama's been playing, chat, you know what? It's turning into a good season. We cannot stay on too much longer because make no mistake, the family is having Christmas. It is December 25th. We have to snap back into reality. Basketball is over. Wembanyama's done playing. We'll have to just move to background territory, I guess, for the rest of the Christmas games. Second most by a Knick on Christmas Day. I think he had a way to go to number one, though. I think Bernard King put up like 60 points on Christmas. So only another game and a half it would have taken for Bridges to get there. But RG3 at halftime for Netflix, shout out. I guess they could just get a bunch of the former ESPN employees. Van Gundy back in our lives, calling basketball games. I guess he's coaching right now. So who knows if he'd want to get that up. But if Netflix got a couple of basketball games, oh, Mina Kimes is on the halftime show. Wait a second, chat. What a W move for Netflix. Wow. This is kind of a stacked crew. Who was the third person in there? I didn't see. And I didn't see who was hosting either. Kay Adams? Kay Adams, RG3, Mina Kimes? Is that Manti Te'o? Netflix star Manti Te'o is calling the game? Oh, that's right. He was also the football player, Heisman Trophy guy. Wow. Is Kay Adams going to get a Netflix deal? Same with Mina Kimes. Hey, Netflix, I'm telling you right now, if I could just leave one little parting Christmas gift with Netflix, drop the bag and get Mina Kimes pod on the library, because that would get me to log in. So there's my Christmas gift to Netflix. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays. Thank you guys for jumping on the little Christmas pop-out edition, but Wemby was on, so we were going to watch the game anyways. So we figured, why not do it now? And we were like, hey, I guess we can only be a couple minutes late to the Christmas dinner. It's not too bad. Whatever, chat. We better get going. We'll still be back later in the week. Make no mistake. We're not going anywhere. The Rem and Sam pod is here to stay. But give us a follow on YouTube, on the social platforms, on the podcast platforms as well. And stay tuned. Like I said, we'll be back. But have a good day, everybody. Merry Christmas.